Welcome everyone to the Mind the Gap event. Hello from Sydney. My name is Gisele. First, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of country, their elders past, present and emerging. I also want to acknowledge the minister and all guests. My journey with digital technology actually started in Queensland. It was 1990, 30 years ago, and I was visiting a friend. And he said to me, Gisele, I want you to listen to this. And he switched on his computer. And as he typed a few words, I could hear every word being echoed. I was memorized, totally mesmerized. Instantly, I saw that this computer, this talking computer, would open up the world to me. I came back to Sydney. I immediately applied to a government scheme to buy a talking computer. I then took a course at Vision Australia to learn how to use it. And then I was able to enroll at university and complete a university degree. But even though digital technology has opened the world to me, it's enabled me to read the newspaper every morning, to do so much. I've also faced barriers. And one of these was 7 years ago when I was shopping online and the Coles website was not fully accessible. So I started a conversation with Coles, and Coles was very responsive and worked very hard to make their website accessible. But it was not the only barrier that I faced. Today, digital technology is critical to everything we do, to employment, to education, to entertainment, to connecting with people. And if the barriers are there, it stops people like me being able to take part in this universe. There's also barriers to accessible consumer products, to accessible mobile phones, to all kinds of products that people take for granted. One of these is in the area of communication. Social connections are vital. And we've seen today in the era of COVID-19 that technology plays such a vital part in keeping people connected. It's important for their mental health and so much more. These are fundamental needs to make the digital world inclusive. So 5 years ago, I also formed an organization called the Digital Gap Initiative to tackle this incredibly big problem of digital accessibility and inclusion. Again, my talking computer has allowed me to work on this project, to do research, to make submissions, to email people. The key takeaway for me is that government must have a role in legislating and in implementing policies for digital inclusion in such areas as communication, consumer products, training, accreditation of information communication technology specialists, and in all areas that touch the digital transformation of our world. We must make digital accessibility and inclusion part of our everyday thinking and language. And businesses too must play a role. Here I want to return to my story with Coles. The conversation started 7 years ago, but in 2019, I was able to nominate the Coles website for accessible website of the year, commercial accessible website of the year. I was so proud when Coles won that award. But more importantly, when 2020 came, I was able to shop online, not just for myself, but for my neighbor. All that because one business made accessibility part of their core responsibility. So my final message today is that government, business, industry, and people, everyday people, must work together for an inclusive digital world.